Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Area I3 and I4 YouTube channel. This is Area I3 Director Shaintan Das, and I welcome you all to the third video of our From the Leaders' Desk video series. There are so many volunteer organizations in this world that we can't even practically count them. There are over 1 lakh such organizations in India alone. And all these organizations need leaders. Not just do they need leaders, but they also end up creating leaders. And these leaders then go on to change the world. Today, we have with us the immediate past international president of one such organization. The organization that, in a research by LinkedIn Economic Graph in 2020, was crowned the title of third in top 10 volunteer organizations in the United States. Today, we have with us distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon, the immediate past international president of Toastmasters International, the organization present across 145 countries that serves and helps people build their communication and leadership skills. I know Deepak sir is somebody who does not need an introduction, but still I'd be happy to introduce distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon for everybody. Hailing from New Delhi, India, Deepak Menon is a chartered accountant at JP Kapoor and Oberoi in New Delhi, where he is one of the 9 partners. He oversees management and operations and specializes in international taxation, cross-border taxation, transfer, pricing, and direct taxes. Menon is also a trustee of the Colombian Endowment Trust, a nonprofit organization. Menon is a fellow chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, where he also earned a diploma in information systems auditing. Menon served as the chief coordinator for the Toastmasters' youth leadership program in collaboration with the American Center in New Delhi and helped build communication and leadership skills for approximately 700 underprivileged children in 6 cities in India. He also served as the secretary of St. Columbia's School's Alumni Society, Old Columbia's Association, and in 2006 co-founded the publishing house Ambi Knowledge Resources Private Limited. A Toastmaster since 2002, Menon's home club is Central Delhi Toastmasters. He has also held a number of high-profile leadership positions within Toastmasters and has attained the Distinguished Toastmaster designation, the highest level of educational achievement in Toastmasters. Toastmasters has taught me skills that no school, college, or university can teach, he says. It has helped me evolve from being a lone player to being a team player, from being a leader, from being led to being a leader, from the problem to being the solution. As an officer of the Toastmasters International Board of Directors, Menon is a working ambassador for the organization. He works with the board to develop, support, and modify policies and procedures that guide Toastmasters International in fulfilling its sessions. Thank you so much, Deepak sir, for being a part of this initiative and for inspiring the leaders from India.
Thank you, Shaintan. Thank you very much for inviting me for your leadership program.
So today we are going to discuss about the takeaways from leadership roles in a volunteer organization. And when this topic comes, who better than the international president himself, who has been an international president and currently guiding the organization as the immediate past. So, sir, you've been in Toastmasters for quite a long time now, since 2002, and this is 2021. You've seen countless challenges along the journey, especially during your international president tenure. All of a sudden, COVID came, and you also have a great experience in the corporate world. Have you found any difference between being a leader in a volunteer organization like Toastmasters and the other volunteer organizations where you have served, and in being a leader at a corporate company?
Thank you, Shayantan. I think that's a wonderful question. And I believe that there's a world of difference between the two, being a leader in a corporate environment and being a leader in a voluntary organization. And I think being a leader in a voluntary organization is much tougher compared to that than that being in a corporate environment. Why do I say that? When you're a leader in a corporate environment, in a corporate organization, you are in effect leading a group of people who are being paid to do the job that they've been assigned. And so they have clear objectives and they are required to achieve those objectives. And if they achieve those objectives, they get paid. And in fact, everything is linked to their achievement of their objectives. Their careers depend on their ensuring that they're meeting the objectives of the organization. But in a voluntary organization, the only remuneration that leaders receive is this, a round of applause for doing a good job. That's all. That's the only appreciation that is received, the recognition that is received, the remuneration that is received. So consequently, volunteers in a voluntary organization, volunteer leaders in a voluntary organization need to have a lot of passion and enthusiasm for the task at hand, for the objectives. They must truly believe in the objectives of the organization. They must passionately believe that that organization is doing good, because it's only then that leaders would want to be involved. Because otherwise, it might seem to be a thankless job. After all, what kind of ego is built by being a leader in a voluntary organization? You have absolutely no way in which you can remove people from the organization. You can't touch them. They're volunteers. They can come and go as they please. So therefore, you have to do your best to ensure that they're willing to follow you. You have to motivate, inspire, persuade, and use all the skills that you have at your command to be able to lead effectively. So a group of leaders who need to be encouraged and motivated to build the skills that they need to lead in a voluntary organization and then fulfill the objectives through the passion that they feel for the organization. That's what is required for being an effective leader in a voluntary organization.
Thank you so much, sir. I believe that this couldn't have been put together in a more precise and in such a beautiful way that you've presented this. So, you talked about how being a volunteer is somewhat a thankless job because we are not getting any remuneration, or because people actually believe in the objectives, then that is why they volunteer. But there is obviously a lot to learn from it, because volunteer organizations have definitely made leaders. So what do you think? What are the skills that one can learn from being a volunteer?
There are tremendous skills that one can learn. Toastmasters, especially, is an organization where leaders are made. That's what our organization's tagline is. And I truly believe that is the case, because we learn by doing in this organization. We learn communication skills by doing. We learn leadership skills by practicing and doing. So it's not just theory that we learn. In fact, we learn more about leadership in Toastmasters than we would in an MBA program. And therefore, if you've not done an MBA, come to Toastmasters, learn leadership, and get ready to lead not just voluntary organizations, but corporate organizations. So therefore, indeed, there's a huge amount that you can learn. And learning starts from the day you join Toastmasters. Every single role that you take up in a Toastmasters club meeting is a leadership role. Every officer position that you hold in a Toastmasters club is again a leadership position. So you're being groomed to take on leadership positions right from the time you join Toastmasters. Now, what you learn through these leadership roles is how to manage people. After all, leadership is all about managing people, managing resources. People are the most valuable resources any organization has, whether it's a non-profit organization or it's a for-profit organization. Without people, an organization will crumble and fall. So therefore, really, that's what that skill is: dealing with people, motivating people, inspiring them, making sure that they're willing to do what you want of them, that they're willing to take up those leadership positions that will help them and help the organization. So therefore, that's really what your job is. So you develop interpersonal skills, you develop skills of being able to resolve conflict. You're able to, of course, as I said earlier, inspire and build the confidence of people in themselves. And thus, you're able to ensure that you're gravitating to becoming a valuable leader, not only in Toastmasters, but in any other organization that you might be working for.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, the skills, like you said, if you have not done an MBA, you can come to Toastmasters and you get to learn all the skills. So I'm not a person who has done my MBA yet, but I strongly agree to what you said. Because from Toastmasters, the several skills that I've learned, starting from managing people to ensuring that deadlines are met properly to motivating people, all of those skills, I believe, while I might have or might not have learned them outside, the way I've learned them in Toastmasters is something that would have never happened outside. But so there's something that I always struggle with, and I believe that there are many people out there who are volunteers in some organization who also struggle with the same thing: managing time between our professional, personal life, and then finding out time for the volunteer organizations. So, how did you manage what, and how can we all manage the time for this?
Yes, indeed. The time is limited. In a day, we have 24 hours. We wish that there were more. And you certainly have to put aside some time to sleep. So then after that, you may be left with 17, 16, 18, whatever number of hours, depending upon how much sleep you're able to manage with. And of course, you have to balance. It's a balancing act. But I've found that there is always time to do the things that you want to, and never enough time to do the things that you do not want to. And clearly, it goes back to your purpose and your passion. If your heart lies in it, you will find time. You will squeeze in the time to manage for whatever area that is something that you're passionate about, that you desire deeply. And I believe that if you're able to be disciplined in terms of use of time, so slot hours during the day that you're going to work only solely on Toastmasters, only solely devoted to work, professional work, or whatever else you have to do, and solely devoted to your personal life. And that way you are going to be able to successfully manage your time. So ensure that you remain disciplined. Of course, there may be emergencies that may occur, but once everybody knows that that's the schedule that you're going to be following, people will respect you for it, and they will not bother you in the time that they know you're going to be doing something else. So that's the way that you can best schedule your time, make sure that you have the time to manage all that you are required to in your 24-hour day.
Thank you so much, sir. That is a valuable piece of advice. I mean, if we can actually schedule our day in such a way that we spend a certain amount of time only to one thing, it would become much easier for us. And that is something I believe the current generation struggles with, because we try to balance so many things at one time. And that is how it becomes a little, things go a little haywire. But thank you for that suggestion, sir. I mean, I'll try it out personally.
Yeah. So the fact is that you should not get distracted. For instance, keep social media aside. Don't keep looking at your Facebook page or Instagram or WhatsApp or the various other social media platforms that are so distracting for us, which sap our concentration because we're doing something and our mind is elsewhere. So remember that whenever you do something, you have to do it with full concentration. So even slot time during a day for your social media activity. And don't look at social media other than at just that particular time. That way, again, you're going to be more disciplined and ensure that you feel satisfied that you spent your day usefully.
Yes, I think if we can put this habit into play, we'll be able to manage time better. But then somehow it is something which we need to apply now, because we have always been giving so much of time to social media, in fact, nowadays, that other things somehow get, you know, a little to the backside of the priority list. But then that needs to come up.
Of course,
And
this particular interview is going to be played on YouTube, and which is counted as social media. If people are going to be watching this, well, of course they're going to be wasting their time or spending time away from something else and watching this. But this is useful, right? So therefore, perhaps this can be the exception.
definitely, sir. I am pretty sure that this is not going to be a waste of time for them. Rather, this would be an eye opener for them, so that they can start working towards their journey of being a better leader, a better communicator, and overall a better human being. So, while we are at it, like managing time and everything, in a voluntary organization, there's also another thing that plays a crucial role: motivation, as you also mentioned, because there is the only remuneration is. So, how do we keep our leaders motivated? How do we build new leaders? Because also another thing, like in an organization like Toastmaster, where leaders are made, many underconfident people join in, people who don't have that confidence. So, how do we motivate them to take up leadership positions, and how do we keep their motivations high throughout the journey?
The secret is mentoring. If we are able to ensure that every single new member who joins the organization as a member, whatever level of experience they may have, is assigned a mentor, and that mentor knows what needs to be done, is effective in first helping those new members understand what Toastmasters really is, helping them through the first few meetings, ensuring that they are able to understand the various traditions of the club that they've joined, helping them understand the various intricacies of the organization and how deep they can dive into this ocean of learning that is available to them. Because many people just scratch the surface and don't really go below the depths and then plumb the depths of the organization to find out all that is available to learn and use and grow and achieve. So that's something that is important, and that only a mentor can do. So my advice would be that every single member, every new person who joins Toastmasters should have a mentor. And everybody who wants to achieve something in the organization, even if they are more senior, have been more experienced in Toastmasters, should find another mentor who can help them along the way. You can have multiple mentors at a time. You don't necessarily need to have just one. Have multiple mentors dealing with a particular subject, maybe a separate leadership mentor, a separate mentor for communication skills, maybe somebody separate for helping you with achieving your humor skills, somebody who may help you in becoming the world champion of public speaking. Anything that you want, you can achieve, but you must put your mind and heart to it, and you can do it. So, yes, there are many members who have been years in Toastmasters and sometimes feel demotivated. But the motivation really comes from seeing others achieve and grow through the help that you provide, through touching their lives and making a difference in their lives. And that is something that keeps us going on.
Sir, this is a question that I always ask any experienced Toastmaster or any experienced leader for that matter, whenever I meet them. And this is probably the most unique and the most sorted answer that I've received.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I may ask, what was your motivation in Toastmasters?
Motivation changes. When you join Toastmasters. Most of us join Toastmasters to improve our confidence, to become better speakers, to be able to speak without nervousness to an audience. And I was no different. I joined Toastmasters because I discovered that I had a fear of speaking before an audience. 19 years ago, that was my purpose of joining Toastmasters. But I built my confidence within about 3 or 4 months of being at the club. And therefore, That purpose was achieved. But by then, I'd started discovering new things about Toastmasters, the impact it had on others, the changes that I saw, the different ways it was impacting the lives of others. So it was not the same way that it was impacting every single person. Each person was gaining benefits that they had not foreseen they would. And that fascinated me. And that's the reason I continued. And so every few months, my motivation would change, my purpose would change, and I would look at something new, I would find something new, and I would aspire towards that. Couple of years down the line, after I joined Toastmasters, I started thinking about becoming a DTM. And that was again another motivation. How do I achieve becoming a DTM? And finally, in 2006, I remember I finally got to my first DTM. No, it was in fact in uh, January of 2007, or was it December 2006 that I got my first DTM. And really, it was a high moment. But then the moment I got that, I knew I had to start working towards my second DTM. So learning never ends, learning never ceases, and the purpose keeps changing. So therefore, you remain motivated. At least I did.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, I have looked around for so many different things for motivation, and this fact that motivation keeps on changing with time is something that I felt truly. Even my motivation kept on changing from one thing to the another, and to see that this actually happens to even the experienced leaders gives me that validation that I'm at least on somewhere on the right track.
It happens to all of us. That's the only way we remain connected.
I believe that is also another part of Toastmasters where we actually get to compare ourselves to our past selves. We don't actually have to compare ourselves with anybody, any other member of our club, or anybody for that matter. We just need to compare who we were a month back and who we are today. That is how it works.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So, sir, what would be your suggestion for the youth of today? Like, there are many Toastmasters who have recently joined. There are many who are very young in Toastmasters. So, what will be your suggestion to them? How can they remain motivated? How can they remain persistent towards their growth?
I think you've hit on a very important, valid point. Our youths, and this is something that you pointed out at the beginning, that there is a lot of distraction, and people get their concentration span is a little less, and they get distracted very quickly. So their interest span is limited. But the fact is that Toastmasters is not a magic wand that you wave and you receive all the benefits that the organization has to offer within the 3 months that you might be a member. And if that's what you expect, well, I'm sorry, Toastmasters is not for you. But certainly in 3 months, you can achieve a short-term goal. And therefore, you've got to plan what your ultimate goal in life is, or at least in Toastmasters is. So in Toastmasters, if you want to make it to become an effective leader, a leader who is successful, who you define as to what, in your opinion, is successful, well, you've got to then take that as your ultimate goal and then break it up into short-term goals that you're going to achieve every 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, so that as you keep achieving those short-term goals and move towards your long-term objective, you get satisfaction that you're achieving something and you're working towards that goal. So you've got to plan. Just as we would as a club officer, you plan to ensure that the club becomes successful, you have to plan for yourself too. You have to have your individual success plan for Toastmasters and for your life. And really, that's the way that you can remain engaged, motivated, and ensure that you're achieving and moving towards your goal. And of course, when you reach that goal, that ultimate objective that you've set for yourself, you will find that now you have a new objective that you want to achieve. And that's the way you can keep going on. But it all depends upon you. If you stay engaged, Toastmasters will give back. You will only reap dividends when you're willing to invest your time, effort, and energy into the organization. If you yourself feel that don't have the time, well, sorry, you're not going to receive anything at all. You will only get as much, perhaps much, much more compared to the time that you invest.
And that, I believe, is a suggestion worth noting down, because time is money and time is also learning.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this interview. I had a wonderful time chatting with you. I had a wonderful time learning from you. And I'm sure that everyone who's watching this video right now will also find that this social media is not a waste of time. Because I am pretty sure that today I'm going to sit and make my success plan. And in fact, all of us who's watching this video, just sit and do that. Because when we are on this journey, let's remain vigilant towards that growth. And that is something which Deepak sir has always believed in, I'm pretty sure. And that is why today we are having to learn so much from his journey. When I was reading sir's biography today, I found that there were so many little details that probably make him the leader that he is today. So thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this initiative. Thank you so much for taking out time to guide, to mentor so many people of this organization that you regularly take out time for. It was a
Thank you, sir.
privilege to host you.
Thank you, Shantan. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.